Hello. Say hi, lady.
Hi.
You said just sweetie. Hi, this is Stephanie Wilson. I thought I'd show you the next day of training with Lady. I picked up right where we left off, and she's a little hesitant about walking over the tarp to start off with, but she does pretty good. It is cold and muddy as all get out outside, so that's why I'm dressed like the Michelin woman. So I warmed her up with doing some more back and forth over the tarp, just like it was laid out the day before challenging her with more stuff. And so you can see she's doing pretty good and remembers most of what we did the day before. Next thing I do is decide I'm going to lunge her over the tarp. Oops. And then she's only seen the lunge whip on one other occasion, and I desensitized her to it a little bit, but obviously she was pretty sensitive to it today, so we kind of started over the process of getting her used to that before we picked up any more lunging. And as you can see, she's pretty worried about it. I was kind of surprised she was worried about that, as good as she's been with everything else. But just took my time and working with her, and she got used to it. This was recorded on New Year's Day. There's a special day for us in that this is the day that she's been cleared to go back to work, which is a wonderful thing. The only problem with that is that it's cold and nasty outside, and probably will be for a few more months. But we can get started with a lot of this kind of stuff, and then it'll be good for her. So I actually keep working on desensitizing her for quite a while because she seemed rather worried about it. I had a problem with somebody else's lunge whip I was using, and it kept falling apart, so I had to keep putting it back together. You can see that I started with rubbing her on her neck, and then just rubbing her on her back, and I'm doing a lot of approaching and retreating to get her used to things and keep her nice and calm. As you can see, she's figured out the whip's no big deal. Give her a treat now and again when she takes a nice big deep breath. You can see I can rub her all over her legs and go over her back, and she seems fine with all of that. So she's really doing well with that. So now that we've redone that, we start with lunging. And again, as I said yesterday, we haven't lunged much, but she seems to be doing okay with that. That's a little different when you're sending the horse over versus leading, so I kind of expected her to slow down a little bit, but or hesitate somewhat, but she seemed okay. So I sped this up a little bit just so I don't bore you to death with going over this tarp over and over again. She does have a moment here where she spooks herself to show that she's just not quite totally comfortable with it. Picks up the trot. It's the first time I let her trot on the lunge line, which was fun for me. But she seemed to handle all of that pretty well. My apologies for the poor video quality. I am brand new at this, and I'm trying to record with my iPhone, so hopefully in time I will get better at this. I've been wanting to start making videos like this for a while. I've been scouring the internet for information on getting an the track thoroughbred and bringing one along. And there's lots of great videos out there with trainers who know a whole lot more than I do. I'm not an expert. I'm totally an amateur at this. But what I don't see a whole lot of are regular people trying to bring along their own young horse. A little bit of information about me. I have just recently got back into horses again after having 15 years off. I rode a whole lot as a kid. I rode before I was born in my mom's tummy. Rode my whole life up until about 15 years ago, and then completely stopped to have a family. And recently my daughter got into riding again at this barn and has a wonderful trainer, and she's learning loads. She's a total amateur, total beginner. But I found I was kind of bored being a barn mom, so I decided to go back to my roots, and which was playing with young horses. So this is, I think Lady will be my 5th off the track thoroughbred, but it's been a long time between number 4 and number 5 for sure. I had off the track thoroughbreds when I was in college. I didn't have the money to have my own horse, but I was a pretty good rider, so I would buy them, put some miles on them, and sell them about a year later. And that kind of paid for my horse habit. So what I found is I really liked bringing along the younger, greener horses. Even after I stopped doing off the track thoroughbreds, then I started doing warm bloods. So one of the really cool things that has happened in the last, I don't know, whenever it was I last sold my last thoroughbred, which was probably 20, 25 years ago at this point, I'm guessing, is that, the whole thing that I was doing, buying horses off the track, retraining them, and selling them, I guess I didn't realize that it was such a, I thought I was doing something really unique and unusual. We had a kind of a lower tier track in our area, and when I was in college, I spent a summer as a groom at the track, and a friend of mine was an exercise rider there, and that's sort of how I got into doing that. But yeah, so I've kind of lost my train of thought here, and I was just talking, but I've got the tarp out now. I picked it all up, and I am just working on getting her used to having the tarp touch her. And you can see she is a little bit nervous about it, but you can see that she's got licking and chewing and going on, so that's all good. Anyway, back to kind of my history of working with the younger horses. I just really enjoy that. But one of the really cool things is I discovered the Retired Racehorse Project's makeover show that's in October. I almost went last year when I actually bought Lady about the time the show was going on, and I bought her from Lexington, Kentucky, from Second Stride, and almost worked out I could go see the show in October, but it didn't work out. But now that I have a thoroughbred, I just thought, what a fun thing to be able to do, to go and see a whole bunch of other people who do this. Probably a lot of people who do it better than me. But I thought it might be interesting to kind of go through what all I've done with her and maybe track it over time. It's kind of the goal is I do want to take her to the makeover in October next year. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with her yet. But this is all stuff that needs to be done with any young horse. So that's sort of the goal of what I'm trying to do with these videos, and we'll see how that goes. You can see she's being a pretty good girl. I'm kind of taking my time with this. My goal with the tarp overall, I wanted to get her walking over it, which she's doing quite well. And then I wanted to get her used to being touched by it. I'd like to be able, and we don't quite get here today, but I'd like to be able to throw it up over her back and get her really used to it. And once she's done that, the next thing I want to do with her, with the tarp, is probably work with her on the ground, dragging it, and just have that go along behind her for a while, so she can get used to that way. I'm kind of thinking she would be good at a competitive trail class, and I think it would be fun to work with her to get her really nice and quiet. My daughter is 13 and just has been riding for about 6 months, but I am curious to see how long it will take and how much training Lady will really need before she's the kind of horse that a rather green kid can get on and ride. Certainly my daughter is taking lessons and learning along the way, but I don't know how long it will take. So that's another thing that I'm hoping to kind of document on this journey is how long it will take to get her to that point. If any of you have any thoughts on that, you are certainly welcome to share them in the comments. So that's a little bit of what we're doing. I'm not entirely sure why I did this, but I started working with her on the right side instead of on the left side. I guess I was thinking that I normally start everything on the left side and she should be ambidextrous, so I started on the right side, even though it's her harder side. But she seems to do pretty well with having it on her right. And quite frankly, she's pretty close to being able to just throw it all up over her. She's still a little bit worried about it. If I really shook that tarp around, she'd spook. But she's under threshold and licking and chewing a lot, which tells me that she's processing things pretty well. It's definitely not too easy for her. We're making progress, and that's kind of the goal. She really likes to sniff it and chew on it. She's very mouthy. She's lost a couple of her baby teeth recently, and she seems to be especially mouthy right now. So here I'm just turning around so I can start working on the other side. I was trying to get her lined up before the camera so you guys could see her a little bit better. So everything on the left then is going to be new to her. And we kind of, I crunch up the tarp and just kind of start things all over. And you can see she's a little more worried about it. Better than she was when I started on the right, but everything on the other side is just a little different. So try to keep it kind of the same. Usually fast forward a little bit on the second side, but that's what we're doing. When I give her the treats, giving treats is kind of a new thing for me, but generally I am rewarding her when she is relaxed. So if she takes a big breath, or she flicks, or she does a really good job, I'll give her a treat. So we are coming up to the end of the video. I was working on this, and then we had a young rider come in with a horse, and I decided that's probably not good with the tarp because I don't know if the other horse is okay with tarps. So this is about where we quit for the day. So come back for part 3. Thanks, everybody.